Rece, roll tide. We can't wait to have you back in Tuscaloosa. How would you describe your excitement for getting back to town on Saturday?
Roger, I think it's a really big moment for the Alabama basketball program. As you know, we've been there for football numerous times. I think maybe only Ohio State more often in football, but our first trip there for basketball. And I think with the program being more prominent on a national level over the last few years, it's a great opportunity for the fans to showcase the support and the passion that they have. And it's a little bit of a different type of show for us. It's an hour-long show on ABC, which will afford a pretty sizable audience. And I hope that led by our friends at Crimson Chaos. I understand that they're already working hard and their billboards up around town. I'm told. I really hope that there will be a great showing to let the nation know that Crimson Tide fans support more than just football.
Really should be a lot of fun coming up on Saturday morning here in Tuscaloosa. And just for you, following this Alabama basketball team, not just throughout this season, but throughout the Nate Oats era, what has impressed you the most about what he's been able to do with the Crimson Tide?
Well, I think the biggest thing is right now they're attempting to win, as you well know, their third SEC championship in the last 4 years. Now, who knows whether they will or not, but whether they do really is secondary in my judgment to the fact that Nate's done it with three entirely different teams. It's not as if he, built with one group of guys, kept them around for a couple of years, and they put up a couple of banners. I mean, they had, that first group, led by Herb Jones, and then they had last year's uber talented group with sensational freshman Brandon Miller and Clowney. And now there are some holdovers. Mark Sears, Rylan Griffin were really big parts of the team last year. Nick Pringle certainly had his moments, but largely this is a different team. So he's done it with a different cast of characters. They've all played differently in some ways. Obviously this team is not as good defensively as the other two, but he's found ways to play to their suits, and that's the mark of a great coach. And I think he is one of the rising stars, if he's not already a major shining star in the coaching landscape. He's a really, really sharp dude.
And of course, we've talked before about your attending the University of Alabama following the Crimson Tide from an early age. How about your connection with this basketball program from before you went to campus? And then what was your connection like with the basketball program during your years here in Tuscaloosa?
Well, I went to virtually every home game. It's been fairly well documented that I attempted to become the guy at the end of the bench who got into blowouts, and I wasn't even good enough to do that. The best of the many wonderful things that Wimp Sanderson did in his coaching career, probably the best thing he ever did was send me a letter to say, we need you to buy tickets if you're going to be anywhere near this basketball program. But I went to, I don't remember the exact year, Roger, but I went to my first game in then Memorial Coliseum, now Coleman Coliseum, in the T.R. Dunn, Anthony Murray era when C.M. Newton was the head coach in the 70s. It was after my buddy Leon Douglas had finished playing. I remember Leon wasn't on the team anymore, but Reggie King, TR, Anthony, Kent Looney, Keith McCord, who later transferred to UAB. Those were some great teams that I enjoyed, going to watch play growing up. And then later on, in my high school days, Watley and Bobby Lee Hurt. In fact, Bobby Lee was still in school when I was, for early in my time at Alabama. So, some great players that I've seen, and obviously that team in '87 with Derek McKee and Godfrey Farmer, Terry Connor, and Michael Ansley was a freshman that year, I think. So, there have been some great players there, and it probably would have a little bit more recognition on the national stage if they could get past the Sweet 16 hex that seems to be hovering over the program. They got past it once. Oddly enough, by probably no disrespect intended, but probably by the least likely of many of their good tournament teams to get past that hump. It was that 2014, which was really good, but I don't. And I hope nobody gets offended. They've had better teams than that, that haven't had that type of good fortune in the tournament. So I've watched it for a long time and followed it closely, and I'm really happy for the success that they're having now.
Now, it culminates coming up on Saturday with Alabama and Tennessee battling for an SEC championship. Again, College Game Day will be there on Saturday morning. And as you mentioned, it's the first time that the basketball edition of this show has been to Tuscaloosa. Our fans have loved coming to the football edition of the show for years. So, with this basketball program that's coming up on Saturday morning, what should our fans expect, especially the ones that are going to make their way inside Coleman
I,
Coliseum?
I think a really intimate experience with us. We really try to be engaged with the fans. There's a chance to win money, which now that McAfee's with us in football, you can win money too. If you can kick a field goal, you got to hit a half court shot to win State Farm's money here. But I think that what you'll get is you'll have a group of guys who are really passionate about the sport, who really know it inside out and are excited to be there and share in the traditions and atmospheres of different places. We've been to some wonderful places. There's no place in college basketball I enjoy going more than going to Kansas. We've been there a ton, been to Duke a lot, been to Carolina a lot. It's awesome every single time that we go there. But it's also fun to go to places, to programs who aspire to be on that stage, to be viewed on the same level, maybe not from an historical traditional standpoint, but at least from a modern day standpoint with the Kansas and the Kentuckys and the Dukes and Carolinas. And, so I think that we enjoy seeing that. We enjoy seeing it because I think it signifies the sport growing into areas that, not that it had, look, Alabama's been good for a long time, but in terms of growing, I mean, like on the national stage, being a perennial contender, being a tournament team, and someone that people wouldn't be surprised, if they make the Final Four runs from time to time.
One of your last assignments here in Tuscaloosa was back in January when Coach Saban announced his retirement. You came in and interviewed him for one of the first on-air interviews, the first on-air interview that he recorded.
Yeah, I was going to correct you there. It was the first one.
The first.
Yeah.
I mean, we tried. I emailed Josh Maxson a million times, but you got it. But no, you had a great conversation with him as he detailed his reasons for stepping away from Alabama and retiring from coaching college football. What was that experience like from you? What did you enjoy about getting to visit with him in that setting?
I always enjoy talking to him because I think he's probably one of the two or three, if not, he's probably at the top of the list, most fascinating coaches in my professional time. Not just when he's been at Alabama, though certainly most notably there, but he's been a fascinating figure for a really long time, and to watch the way he has evolved and changed his public perception. I don't think he's changed a lot personally. He's just allowed people to see what he's about a little bit more as the years have gone on, and the impact that he's had on people. I think you always enjoy being around him, but being able to talk to him there and let him detail his thought process and how he approached it, and sort of the responsibility he felt to leave the program in a good spot. And also he's not big on anxiety, as you know, but you sensed a little bit of anxiety that he felt in the moments leading up to actually making the decision final. Now, after that, I felt that he was convinced and resolved that he had done the thing that was best for him. I didn't get the sense, that there was what have I done, and talking to him. But as he detailed to me in those moments leading up when he was deciding, am I going to give the speech that the players expect about the offseason program and what the schedule is going to be and what we expect and how we're going to take the next step? Or am I going to give the other speech that I've prepared? And I don't know, Roger, that it was one of those things, I should do this, I should do that. I got the sense, and sort of the way I felt like what he was saying was he had made the decision, but when you've poured as much into something as he has poured into his coaching career and Alabama, the finality of it means you better be sure before you make that final decision. So he was looking at it and prepared in case in the moment that he walked in, looked at the players and thought, this is where I need to be for a while longer. And he, that was the sense I got from it. It wasn't like a wavering thing. Nick is not a wavering kind of guy. He thinks things through thoroughly and then makes a decision and proceeds. But I think that was probably the thing above and beyond everything else that stuck with me, is that the preparation was such that he was even prepared for a possibility that he stepped into that room and thought, I can't do this. So he was even prepared for that, so it's quite a testimony to him, I think. And it's something that we're looking forward to having him on the show because he's such a gifted communicator, and he also has a great rapport with all of us, and we're really excited about having him on College Game Day. He's going to bring a great dimension to the show this fall, I think.
We certainly look forward to that. Well, Rece Davis, thank you so much for your time with us here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Safe travels to Tuscaloosa later in the week, and have a blast coming up at Coleman Coliseum on Saturday. Thank you. Roll Tide.
Need to see a huge crowd out there on the network. It's going to be great for the program if they show up and support. We hope they will.